annual First Gen Day celebration. Can I hear it for all the Condors?
We're so excited that you're here, and we're excited for the presentation that we have put together today for you. It is definitely going to be a special treat, and I cannot wait to get into it.
Yes, definitely. We know we also have Channel Island High School in the house. You can do better than that. Come on. That's the only time I'm saying Raiders today.
How about Wainimi?
What about OMC? Representing. Right on, right on. How about staff, faculty, administrators, and everybody who works at Oxnard College behind the scenes? Dang, that's just sad when they could be louder than you all. No, I'm just kidding. Hi, everybody. My name is Gabriela Rodriguez, and I am a Title V Grant Director for Oxnard College.
And my name is Amanda Berwick, and I work in your Career Center here as a job placement specialist.
And we have quite a treat for you today. How many of you are Rams fans in the crowd? Woo, we're kind of getting there, almost. So we're in for quite a treat. Like I said, today is our second annual First Gen Day celebration. How many of you guys came out last year? It was at the amphitheater. Thankfully, we're indoors this time. We are here to celebrate First Gen students. How many of you are first generation in your family to pursue higher education? Woo-hoo. All right. If you look around, there's a lot of staff, faculty, and folks around here who have shared your journey, and we want to be here to support the next generation to get through the educational system. But I'll tell you that even defining what first gen means could be different for each individual, right? So like even if my parents went to school and maybe they're doctors in a different country, for me, navigating this educational system may be the first time, and I would be considered first gen. So we just want to support any students that need the help.
And what you can expect today, as you're a first-generation student and you're kind of exploring new pathways, you will learn about the pathways within the NFL here, specifically the Rams organization. We're going to cover paid internships, what our special guest, like what his journey was, and he's very insightful. He is so amazing, and I know that you guys are going to really enjoy it.
Yes, so there's a lot of other career opportunities besides playing football and coaching football. That's what we're going to talk about today. All the career pathways that you have available to you. But first, we want to highlight some of our very, very own Condors who are student athletes and also first generation in their family to both pursue higher education and transform their lives. So if we could cue up the first video, then we will be right back. Thank you all for being here.
My name is Diego Briseño. I'm a student athlete, and I'm a first generation student. It's important for me to get an education because it gives my family a better way of living, and it's a good example for my little brother and everyone around me. I started playing soccer when I was about 5 years old, and I joined my first club when I was about 6, and from there on out, I've been playing competitively. Being a student athlete has helped a lot with my education because it has helped me manage my time and be disciplined. Growing up here in Oxnard, especially in Island Acres, was tough at the time when I was younger because of gang violence. With soccer and the Boys and Girls Club around helped me a lot and made me a better person. And I feel like that's why I am here today.
My name is Olivia Martinez, and I am a first-generation student at Oxnard College, and I am majoring in kinesiology. For my family, it is important since they were able to only get an education in first through third grade, and I've made it this far. So I believe even getting a bachelor's, associate's, any kind of degree is very important. The reason why I like running is the feeling of being very competitive with myself and others, me believing in myself, working with my mindset, and just pushing myself to the limits is what makes me feel really good about the sport itself. Hi, my name is Olivia, and I'm a first-generation student at Oxnard College.
All right. Let's give it up for our local Oxnard College Condors and heroes. They put us on the map when they compete with other schools, with other colleges throughout the state. So Amanda, who else are we going to learn about?
So our next video actually comes directly from the Rams. This is something that was shared with us and is played at the stadium, and it kind of gives an insight as to It's a fun video, and I'm excited for you guys to see it.
Of all the careers and people behind the scenes making things happen for the Rams.
And there's
So
probably some people that you will recognize if you pay attention.
keep your eyes open.
Everything has changed. Everyone wants what we have. We have to protect what's ours. The only question is, are you in?
Suppose the phrase quit while you're ahead doesn't apply here.
Why would we do that?
I'll assemble the crew, make sure we have the right fit.
So as you can clearly see, the result is 23/20. Any questions?
I have one. You want to drive or should I? Oh, shit.
You remember the last time I said just trust me?
Yeah, I woke up passed out in Cabo.
No, the time before that.
We all made history.
Damn right we did. Staff, need you on the ground calling the shots. Van, well, I need you in the van. Catch all communication. AD, I need you laser focused on the one thing you do best, complex data analytics. Nick, you're on recon.
I got eyes all around.
Over 1 million people a week visit Las Vegas. Except for next week. That number doubles because of one event.
The draft.
Celine Dion. You didn't just say Celine Dion, did you? Did you just say that?
The Rams are on the clock.
Yellow 25, you're on the move.
Find your angle and don't hesitate.
I never hesitate. Target inbound. I see the case.
There's no room for error on this one.
I'm the only one that understands how real this is. We gotta do this now.
Leslie and Sean McVay, they throw a caution to the wind.
Too many imposters try to do what we do. Nobody does what we do.
They know. It gotta be now.
Kill, kill, kill.
Cover's blown, they know. Get out now. Rams are gonna bomb this draft.
Can't do those kind of
They
things.
traded all their picks away.
We got 10 seconds left. We got this, right?
Tell me we're good.
Tony, Sean, you're gonna want to see this.
That is not McVay's strength.
Sean McVay's supposed to be boy genius.
The house always wins.
We're gonna do what no one said we could.
Les, gotta go now.
The Los Angeles Rams select.
We're gonna steal the draft.
All right, all right. So that's just a sneak preview of the many people behind the scenes that make things happen for the Rams, right? The Rams made history, did they not? Right? Who can tell me how they made history? They're the what? National football team, that's right, the champs, right? So Amanda, who do we have coming up?
So we're really ready to get into it and announce who will be joining us on stage today. Gabby's going to read a little bit more about it, but to join him on stage, we have our athletic director, Jonas Crawford. If anybody who has been around here with athletics, you will be familiar with him. And we're gonna introduce two of our special guests. Gabby's going to read a bio for you in a minute, and then we'll have them join us on stage.
Yes, and you all know you'll have an opportunity to take special pictures afterwards, and there's going to be lunch provided for you. So you'll hang on to your meal ticket. We're going to have Carl's Jr. after this. So hang tight, and let me tell you a little bit more about one of our guests, Oracio Galindo. Oracio is entering his 7th season with the Los Angeles Rams as head of employee experience. He oversees the administration of day-to-day human resources activities, the person we want to get to know if we want a job, and strategically responsible for developing programs, systems, and policies that attract, retain, and engage and develop talent across the organization. People like you. So we want to get our talent in there. I'm sorry, he's not promising anybody a job, just saying. Prior to joining the Rams, Galindo served as the Vice President, Employee Relations and Labor Relations for Tribune Tribune Publishing, a media company rooted in award-winning journalism, which employs over 8,000 employees across the country. During his tenure, he was instrumental in leading a staff of 25 human resources professionals to drive various transformational and organizational changes across 10 major newspapers. Before his work with the Tribune Publishing, he also served in various senior leadership roles with other organizations such as the Los Angeles Times, Sony Music Entertainment, Starbucks Coffee, and Red Bull. A native of Los Angeles, California, Galindo earned an undergraduate degree in business administration from Loyola Marymount University and a master's in human resources development from Claremont Graduate University. Oracio is also a founding board member of the Pro Sports Assembly, the Association for Professional Sports Business Leaders. Galindo married his wife, Gladys Limon, in September 2016. She currently works as an environmental justice attorney in Los Angeles area. And in April of 2018, Galindo and his wife welcomed a baby boy, Cristian Alejandro. And in February of 2020, they welcomed their second son, Emilio David. The family currently resides in Camarillo, California, in our own backyard. So let's give it up for our three special guests.
You guys ready? Oxnard College, will you help us welcome to the stage our presenters along with the Super Bowl trophy?
Actually, I need a little help here. Can you help me? What's your name? Jasmine, here. Can you hold this while I... What do you think about that? How would you describe it to your colleagues here? So, along with the players, each staff member also received a Super Bowl championship ring. And as mentioned in the introduction, I've been with the team since 2016. I joined when the team moved back from St. Louis to Los Angeles. I joined at a time when only 35 people came from St. Louis on the business operations side. We're now at 180 full-time staff members. When we get into the busy season, like we are now, we get up to about 150 employees. That includes all the part-time employees. We're a large employer in the Ventura County area. A quick little thing about that ring. I shared this with a couple of staff members. It actually opens up. And what's really special about this ring is that it really was designed to remind people of our championship run last year. So for example, what you see on the inside here is actually pulverized turf from SoFi Stadium. And on the back end of here is actually leather from a game ball used in the championship game. So it's a very, very special ring. Someone had asked me, whether I wear this frequently. This is actually the first time I'm wearing it in public, and I thought it was important to bring it to the college to share with you that someone like myself, who is first generation, can actually be a Super Bowl champion. And never in my life that I think I could actually accomplish that. It's been a lot of hard work. It hasn't been easy. There's been a lot of moments where I felt like I was not going to make it. And that's okay. And I want you guys to know that I've went through it. Many of you will go through it. And you have resources and people like me that are here to help you through it as well. So hopefully my journey today can inspire you to pursue whatever dreams you have. But today is really focused on getting to know a little bit about the Rams, but also my journey as in terms of how it's led me to the Rams today. So just wanted to introduce it. Thank you for doing that.
All right, what an introduction and what a special guest we have. I'm sure you thought it might have been a player or some sort, but this is even more special. I'm almost a little nervous to be sitting next to it, but we do have one of our fine officers over here making sure it doesn't go anywhere. But Oracio, again, a pleasure to be on stage with you, and I know you are the real OG. But I just wanted you to tell us a little bit more about your background and about your family and why you decided to pursue higher education.
Sure. So I was born in Los Angeles, grew up in Whittier, California, about 80 miles south of of Oxnard. I'm the oldest of 5 kids. My parents are actually from Jalisco, Mexico. My mom's from a small town called San Juan de Amula, Mexico, and my dad is from Tonaya, Jalisco. Which I actually learned in speaking to Oscar Cobian that his family is also from Tonaya, Jalisco. So such a small world. As I mentioned earlier, I am a first-generation college graduate, post-college graduate. My parents did not go to school beyond the 4th grade. And so for them, it was important that I actually focused on my studies, on my education, and I really thrived in that area. In terms of when I realized, that higher education was important to me, I'll tell a little story. When I was 14 years old, my parents decided to send me to Mexico for the summer. And I thought that I was going to be spending the summer fishing, playing soccer, horseback riding. What I did not know was that my parents had a plan. And the plan was that my uncles were supposed to put me to work. And they were supposed to put me to work 6 days a week, working in the fields. That summer we harvested corn, watermelon. And what I remember vividly is at the end of the summer when I came back, super tan. I'm relatively a dark person, was even darker from spending so many hours out in the sun. And I remember the blisters and the calluses that had developed. And in that moment, as I was entering my freshman year in high school, I realized, well, I appreciate the hard work that my uncles go through every single year just to live. I realized that I had an opportunity. I had an opportunity to do something bigger that could help not only me, but also help my family. And so it was in that moment where I decided that I needed to do the best I could, to reach, attending college. And so fast forward to 4 years later, I graduate with a 3.9 GPA. I was in my top 10 class at Whittier High School, and then got accepted to my priority school, which is Loyola Marymount University.
So your experience working there obviously put it into perspective. Going to college wasn't as challenging as working those long days in Mexico, I presume. Your experience as a first-generation college student, how did you decide on a career pathway with HR?
Yeah. I wasn't an HR major initially. I actually was an accounting major. One thing that I'm pretty proud of, and as I see my 4-year-old, he's actually a genius in math, was really good at math. And I thought, pursuing an accounting degree would be appropriate. Good at math, you should be an accountant. When I went to Loyola my freshman year, I struggled. I struggled to adapt to the environment. I came from what was a predominantly Latino high school, and then all of a sudden I was a minority at a university. And I struggled to really identify and figure out how to embrace the new educational system. I came from an environment where I was probably taught more to memorize things rather than to be a critical thinker. And so my first year was really adapting to that world. And really how I found my way was essentially through meeting other people like myself who were experiencing the same thing. And so I joined a organization called MECHA. And I don't know if Oxnard College has MECHA. That's awesome. And so I joined them, and that's where I found sort of the community. The community, I found people that had the same experience as I did, that were going through the same struggles that I was. I eventually ended up leading that organization as a co-chair my senior year. But through that, I was able to find my way. And in my sophomore year, I took an introductory class to human resources. And I thought, this is what I want to do the rest of my life. And from that point, I made it a mission of mine to actually learn more about that. Learn more about what human resources meant to an organization, and more importantly, get the hands-on experience that I needed to position myself when I graduated to be able to take on a role in HR.
So from that point, you entered a large corporation, I presume, where you get a job right out of college, and then what was key for you navigating your first and second jobs out of college?
So one of the things that led me to landing my job was an internship that I took with a company called R.R. Donnelley. And R.R. Donnelley still exists, and I'm gonna age myself a bit. At the time, R.R. Donnelley published the Yellow Pages. So basically, it's your modern Yelp, right? But it was essentially a thick book that would be dropped off at your home, and you could look up local businesses, and actually you can even find personal phone numbers to yourself.
Yeah, I don't know if any of them know what a yellow page is.
Yeah, they probably would be scared to see
Yeah.
a big book like that. So that certainly was my first step in getting the experience. When I graduated from college, I didn't have an offer. And I remember being with my family, celebrating that I had just graduated. We're having, my dad's a big fan of carnitas. I don't know if you guys like carnitas, and he was making carnitas to celebrate, me graduating. And I get a call, and it's an employer that I was actually interviewing with. And I'm in the call. Imagine my entire family. It's almost kind of the NFL when they're getting ready to get drafted, except smaller Mexican party. And I get the call and I get the offer, and I was so excited. That moment sort of solidified all the hard work that my family and I had gone through. And so I started my first job with MCI. It was a telecommunications company. Ended up being bought out by, I think, AT&T and some other global company. But started there, and really just started as an assistant in human resources. I was actually assisting our recruiting manager, setting up interviews, helping post jobs, doing whatever it took to actually bring candidates in the organization. Thereafter, my second opportunity was with Universal Studios. And so I had a chance to work at Universal Studios as an HR coordinator, and my primary responsibility there was to handle the new hire orientation. And so every Monday, I would do new hire orientation. I'd go through a presentation, and then I'd walk hundreds, not hundreds, but a number of new hires to the back lot and go into the actual studio and take them on the tram tour to experience the tram. So after like 2 years, I could probably be, one of the guides, having heard the spiel so many times. But that, was sort of how I started my career in HR at Universal Studios, and then also at MCI.
So now, as head of a major organization like the Rams, what is your role as the head of HR?
People think I just go around firing people all day. I don't. And people get surprised when I tell them that in my entire career I've only fired 5 employees. However, though, I've consulted or been involved in over 2,500 terminations. And that's something I'm proud of. I'm only sharing that with you to illustrate that that is a component of my job. And it's really to help leaders or the organization assess when either behaviors are not aligned to the values of the organization, or when someone breaks a policy or does something different that goes against what we're trying to accomplish as an organization. The simplistic way of describing my job is really to develop programs, systems, policies that attract, that develop, that retain, that reward, the best and most diverse talent for the organization. That's the simplest way to describe it. And so if you think back to, when we started in 2016 and all the growth we've gone through, it was a matter of introducing a number of policies. For example, one of the first policies we introduced was unlimited time off. So most companies, when you start a job, they give you a certain amount of vacation after a certain amount of years you're with the organization. We wanted to erase that. We wanted to create a culture of trust where, hey, if you're burnt out or you need some time off, why should you wait to accrue some time off? Go ahead and take that time off. If one year you want to take a week off, take a week off. If another year you want to take 4 weeks off, go for it. And so it became a process of really scaling the organization and identifying what programs, policies that could attract talent. A little bit about our organization I want to share with all of you, which is important. Back in 2018, the NFL recognized the Rams as being the most diverse team in the entire league. We ranked number 1 and number 2 in terms of race and gender. We're also one of the youngest clubs in the NFL. 88% of our staff are Gen Z and millennials. And so for us, it's important that we introduce diversity into the organization. It's a competitive advantage, and it's something that we actually, embrace. So when you think about us as an employer, do not be scared. All right? We certainly welcome you, we welcome your experience, and we welcome your contribution.
That's evident with your head coach being a baby genius, right? He's, 30 years old or 30?
He was the youngest coach.
Yeah, he was really young when you guys hired him.
17.
Now you Did you always want to work for an NFL team, or was that something on your radar?
Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be in this position. I feel really lucky, very honored to hold the position I hold today. I always just wanted to be the best person I could be in everything I did in my life. And you know, whether it was working at Universal, the Los Angeles Times early in my career, then working at Red Bull, Starbucks, then going back to the LA Times as the head of HR, the organization where I grew up in. It's always been about just making the better version of yourself every single day. And for me, I never thought that sports was within reach. And so back in 2016, I get a call, and it was an attorney that I worked with closely who said, hey, I got this posting. They're looking for a head of employee experience at the Rams. Would that interest you? I'm like, hell yeah, I'll take a look at it. And was started as a curious conversation, turned into a 90-minute conversation with our president and COO, Kevin Demoff, at a small coffee shop in downtown Los Angeles. And it was through that conversation that I realized I want to be there. I was inspired by his vision of what he wanted to do with the team and what he wanted to do in terms of growing the organization. And so I myself was committed to wanting to pursue this opportunity. A month later, he invites me to speak to several executives. And it's actually, I never said this to him, it was the first time I ever did this in an interview. He said, hey, I want you to speak to a couple of executives. And I thought, okay, I'm going to speak to people individually. He invites me to a conference room, and there's 12 other executives sitting in the same room. And I'm like, uh-oh, this is going to be interesting. And it actually was the best conversation, best interview I've ever had, because it became a conversation and a dialogue about what was important to them as an executive team and how I could actually help them, advance their business, their brand going forward. I ended up getting the job 2 weeks before I got married. And so my life, became something very special. I found the woman of my dreams, who actually was born in Oxnard, went to USB, attorney. I think Gabriela knows knows my wife, but wonderful, wonderful person, very inspiring person herself. And so for me, at that point, happy as could be. Right, that I had not only on a personal level, have found someone special, but found my dream job as well.
So, once you got with the Rams, what most satisfies you, and brings you joy when you're doing your job? You mentioned obviously the bad part is having to let people go, but what really satisfies you when you're doing your work?
I think it's watching people grow, watching people come together towards one common mission. It's very simple. Every year we want to win a championship. It's that simple. And really you see that evolve from the beginning of the off season and through the season. One thing that I can share with all of you that illustrates our culture. Yesterday marks a 4-year anniversary of the tragic death of 12 community members in Thousand Oaks. It was a mass shooting there. A day later, if you recall, a wildfire broke out in this region. Many of our staff members, coaches, and players were displaced. That year, we were scheduled to play Kansas City in Mexico. So we were kind of looking a couple of weeks ahead, getting ready for that. Shakira decided to have an awesome concert the week before that game, ruined the field, so the NFL decided to cancel the game in Mexico and bring it back to Los Angeles. The problem was that we had not sold any tickets. We had not even planned for a game. And so in a matter of 6 days, we had to come together as an organization and really not only sell at the Coliseum, develop or run a show for the game, which included inviting first responders, families of the victims, that lost their lives. That game, besides the Super Bowl win, in my mind, was the best game I've ever attended in my life. If you remember, and if you haven't watched it, it's November 2018, it became a back and forth game. We ended up winning by a few points. The score was in the 50s. And to me, it illustrated the power of our organization, that we can come together during a sort of a crisis, right? Have a mission to produce a game that could actually bring the community together, and we did it. We did it in a matter of 6 days, sold it out, and wonderful memories of that staff coming together. As a result of that, we gave every staff member a game ball, a personalized game ball that basically acknowledged their contribution towards that game.
That was an incredible game. I do remember that game, and it seems that kind of propelled you guys to another level there as an organization. Shifting gears just a little bit, do you think that being Latino and first gen, do you think that contributes to what you do with the Rams in any way?
I think it does. I think everything I do has a filter, and I'm much more understanding. I know I'm not perfect. Spanish was my first language. There are many times, even today, I have to think about what I'm going to say. And I have to think, am I enunciating it correctly? Am I pronouncing things? Am I spelling things correctly? So I have a little more understanding for individuals as they navigate their own experiences, and as they entertain us as an employer. I'll tell you one story. There was a candidate that I was speaking with, this is about 4 years back, wonderful candidate, except they had tons of spelling mistakes on their resume. And I'm in that moment and I'm like, okay, what do I do? I can either reject the candidate, not moving forward, or do I take a leap of faith and say, hey, this individual has potential, and what if I give him this feedback? So I gave this person the feedback and I said, look, I really enjoyed our interview. I think there's a lot of potential, but to be honest with you, I cannot move forward with this resume. And I highlighted the areas that it needed opportunity. He shared with me that he was a new father. It was 2 weeks in, and so for any of you who are parents, it's tough the first month. There's no sleep. You're just trying to figure out, what this little person needs doesn't talk to you. And, I had in that moment empathy for him. Gave him an opportunity to correct that resume. He sent it back to me that evening, forwarded it on to the manager. He got hired. I didn't share that story with that hiring manager until a year later. And he thanked me, right, for actually, doing that, because he turned out to be a wonderful asset to our organization. Where in other organizations, he probably wouldn't have been considered because of those spelling mistakes. And so it was just an oversight. Other things were occupying his mind, obviously a newborn, but it gave him an opportunity to shine. He left us last year. He's now a director, for a NHL hockey team, right? But he joined us as a manager during that time. So I think for me, it does shape my thinking, how I approach problems, how I approach talent, and it does carry sort of my own drive as well. I know nothing. I don't take anything for granted. I know nothing's given to me, so it also pushes me to kind of work hard and make sure that that I can represent the Latino community as well.
Doing a great job. Some of the other organizations you've worked at, including the Rams, might not be, I mean, we're all familiar with the Rams, but some of the others maybe not. What should some of the young people in the audience here know about these opportunities in these organizations, and a perspective that they can think about, like where can they place themselves in those organizations? What kind of perspective would you give?
Yeah, I would say follow your passion. I think many times, I remember the advice I would get from my parents, especially each time I share with them that I'm looking at a new opportunity. They're like, why don't you stay? And I'm like, I'm looking to grow, I'm looking to learn. Don't look for a job. Look for something that you actually can enjoy waking up every day and doing. And be true to that, right? If you have a desire to be in a creative environment, be true to that. If you are somebody who thrives in being in an environment that is focused on analysis or process, focus on that. Be determined, show some purpose in what you want to do. Larger organizations, in my mind, offer a system that's pretty established. When I joined, Starbucks, for example, 130,000 employees worldwide. There's a system. As a matter of fact, great story about Starbucks. I joined them as a director of human resources. And I didn't start my job as director of, they call it partner resources. until 3 months after I started. They take every employee, regardless whether you're entry level or an executive, through a barista program. So I had to learn how to be a barista. I then had to understand and shadow what a manager did at a store, what a district manager did, what a regional director did. And it's because they emphasized service. They emphasized product knowledge. And so regardless of what you did, you need to be an ambassador of that brand. And so big organizations provide the structure for growth. The LA Times, for example, major newspaper in Los Angeles, that's where I grew up. That's where I got my foundation. That's where I learned. And I had really, really good people that believed in me. There's a woman, one of my biggest mentors named Gwen Murakami. She took me under her wing at the LA Times. And what I appreciated about her was she was always very direct with me. She didn't sugarcoat anything. She gave me the feedback, was really hard on me, but she believed in me, and she did it with that intention. And she would always tell me, feedback is a gift. So what are you going to do with it? And so it always pushed me to do better. And that's the other thing I would say, like, always find a mentor or someone that actually is open to have those candid conversations with you, and don't be afraid to take the feedback. It's not personal, right? You know, they're trying to help you grow, and be open to it. Take it in, understand the why behind it, and hopefully you can move forward and evolve as a person.
Yeah, that's true. You know, when you get into the coaching realm, you know, when you're getting on a player, and even our teams, that if they're getting some constructive feedback, you know, it is just that, you know, hopefully constructive. But could you tell us some of the career pathways within the Rams? And we have mentioned finance, sports medicine, training, film, marketing, some of the pathways that people might consider if they're planning on taking an internship or trying to join your organization.
What people don't realize is that there's a whole business operations team to the LA Rams. I think people think it's just coaches, players, trainers, and yes, that's a very important, you know, that is the most important part of the Rams. But there is a whole business side that's focused on growing fandom, growing the brand, growing revenue, growing our youth and community initiatives throughout the LA region. We have about 180 business operations staff members. Anything in finance, IT, HR, marketing, sales, media. So people like video production, we have it there. That is something that a lot of people don't know about our business. They think it's just everything on the field. And so if you have that aspiration, right, to go into business and to learn that, you know, consider us. Consider us as an employer. There are many ways to be part of our organization. Internships, we offer not only summer internships, we also have season-long internships. Those internships start in the summer, and they go through February. The only thing I'll say with that is you have to have full-time availability, because for those opportunities, we essentially want people to be available full-time for that 6 to 8 month experience to really learn that business. But if you have the summers available, we have the summer internships that are also available for staff. The other way to get involved with our organization is through our Rams Ambassador program. Our Rams Ambassador program is an extension of our guest experience team at SoFi Stadium. We have about 120 Rams ambassadors that work every game. So if you're available on Sundays, 8 to 10 times a year, that's an opportunity for you to get involved with the team. It gives you an opportunity to get to know our culture, to get to see if you enjoy working with us, and also gives us an opportunity to get to know you, and if it's somebody that we want to continue to pursue, should a full-time opportunity present itself.
So if they're interested, what's the process, and how would they go about applying?
Yeah, you can find us on the rams.com site. Just go down to the bottom, you'll see careers. Click in there and you see our open positions. Right now we have a number of open positions that are sort of an overflow from the beginning of the season, but most of our positions, you know, tend to be posted in the February timeframe. So if you are interested in the Rams, February, March is when you start seeing tons of internships and other full-time jobs that are made available.
How about some insider tips to help them, you know, to help them through the process? Maybe what to do, what not to do. Should they wear a 99 jersey? Should they you know, dye their hair blue? You know, what do you got for
Well,
them?
look, we certainly appreciate the fandom, but at the end of the day, we're looking for people that are good team players, they're good problem solvers, they have self-awareness, and they just want to work hard. I'll take that any given day. And so if you feel that you represent that, check out our opportunities. You know, some of the don'ts, obviously some basics, right? Don't show up at our facility, right, looking for a job. We've had a lot of fans who do show up looking for jobs. Best story is the first job one of the first jobs I ever posted. It was for our front desk job. We had over 1,000 applicants. And people were just applying, showing up, trying to get in there for a front desk receptionist job. We want the best person for the job. We want the right person. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? And there's a difference there. And so if you feel you have those attributes, please apply. The other tip I will give you is today. You know, today I'm in front of you, right? You may be my colleague someday, right? Take advantage of this relationship. Many times I speak to students, especially interns, and the feedback, the encouragement I give them is, look around the group. As a matter of fact, look around this audience. There are people here who are going to be leaders in their own right. If you don't know them, shame on you, right? Today you guys are going to have lunch, you know, after this event. Meet someone you haven't met. Find out what they're about. What do they do? Find a common ground. That's how you build network. That's how you grow. And so through those relationships, and today I extend this to all of you, right? You've met someone, right? If you see a job, email me. You can find me on LinkedIn, right? Or I'm going to give you guys my email, right? I'm being bold here, right? It's ogalindo@rams.nfl.com. Right? I'll repeat it again. ogalindo@rams.nfl.com.
You guys got that?
Right? And so if there is something you like or you have a question, let me know. If I can't answer it, I will get you to the right person who can. But leverage that opportunity, right? Get to know your peers. Each one of you here is going to be, you know, a leader in your community, a leader in a corporation. Get to know each other.
Aside, you mentioned like LinkedIn, you mentioned, you know, media. We talked a little bit about backstage about the power of being in person and how that's, you know, lacking a little bit. And the difference between, we met yesterday on a call and then met today in person is completely different. But LinkedIn important, yeah?
It is very important. I believe that's the platform for the business community. That's how you connect. That's how, you know, I reach out to candidates. That's how candidates reach out to me. It is the place to go. So, you know, I'm sure, you know, through Amanda, you know, and others here at the college, there are resources that you can take advantage. Build out your profile if you haven't done so already. Right? Connect. Let me be the first person that you connect with. How's that? If you haven't had a LinkedIn profile, build it. Work with your career service department, and let me be the first person you connect with. Right? And help you build your network. But LinkedIn, yes, it is a powerful tool. It is the tool that many of us use. The other thing I will share, if you are interested in sports, Teamworks. Teamworks Online is also another resource for entry-level jobs in sports. Our career site links up with Teamworks, so we have that connection. But if you are interested in the NBA, NHL, MLS, Teamworks is the preferred area also where a lot of other clubs post their jobs.
Yeah, there's another one too. I think NCAA has one online that's pretty good. If you want to get involved with collegiate athletics, it's a good one. Do you have anything else for first-gen students who are trying to advance their career in any way?
Just be yourself. Just know that you're going to make mistakes. I would say don't let those mistakes define you. Realize that you can grow. Understand what the issues are that led you to that mistake, and just grow from it. And know, once again, what I'm trying to encourage you guys is to come together, all right, to really essentially build that community. And it starts with your education. Many of the folks that I know today, I met in college, great friends. right? They're teachers, they're leaders in organizations, and I think it's important to create that community now. And if you haven't done so, I challenge you guys to do that as first generation students.
That's excellent advice. You know, the paper's out of questions, but I'm sure some of our audience may have some questions for you. Be willing to
I'm
take
an open book, so
Yeah.
you can actually ask me any question. I'll be very honest with you. So feel free to ask anything you guys are curious about. Yeah. So the question was, when I was sitting at the table with executives, what was my pitch?
How would you pitch to a company to help them develop
Good question.
their company grow as to how you got the job?
Great question. So one of the questions that they asked me in that interview was, they said specifically, as you can see in this room, we're not a very diverse, organization, predominantly white. How would you approach that problem? And what I said to them, and I remember vividly, the fact that you acknowledge that there is an opportunity is the first step. Secondly, in Los Angeles, one of the most diverse metropolitan areas in the country, that also presents an opportunity for us to attract new talent. For me, it was less about a pitch, but more about understanding what they were trying to get at, right? And then figuring out within my control what I actually could do to help advance that, right? And so part of it is just listening, asking questions, and really, more importantly, trying to make sure people are aligned. In that moment, they recognize it as a leadership team, right? It's made my job easy, right? That's not the case in other organizations. People have to, really fight, make a pitch for why diversity is important. That is not the case at the Rams, right? We from the get-go understand the competitive advantage of it, and we embrace it. But it is about just listening and just really trying to figure out, how can I help? You're not there to give them a solution in that moment. You're probably not going to have it. It may require you to really analyze and further understand what the issue is before you can actually make your pitch or recommend a solution. But yeah, great question. Can you state your name and tell me a little bit about yourself? Bring the microphone. Bring it straight to the microphone.
Hello, my name is Andrew. I'm a second-year student at Oxnard College, and my ultimate goal is to become a team doctor for the LA Rams. So a question that I had for you is, what made you stand out? What do you think some actions that you did that made you uncomprehendable, unpredictable to the people that were the judges basically that were trying to hire you?
Yeah, like what you see is what you get. I'm not perfect. I think you get hard work. For me, I try to understand. I ask a lot of questions. And more importantly, I just try to be helpful. Right? I'm not trying to be a hero. I'm just trying to be helpful. Right? And so if it's an employee coming to me with an issue or a challenge they're going through, it's trying to help them through that. If it's a leader who's having a challenge motivating their staff, is trying to identify the root cause behind that and help them. So really for me, it's just taking the time just to listen, understand. That is all I can do. And so for me, that is sort of my superpower, that I'm patient, that I try to understand, that I'm empathetic. Perhaps that's a great question. I never even asked my executive team, what exactly allowed them to select me. But if I had to guess, it would be sort of that calmness that I bring, right? The understanding, and also knowing that I'm going to do what's right ultimately for the organization. One thing I'll share with you, since you're an inspiring doctor, this past few months, we actually went into a partnership with HBCUs. And what we realized was that there's an opportunity to have more minority head trainers and teams. This year, we are hosting 2 aspiring students and exposing them to the ins and outs of being a trainer, right? And so it is something that we recognize that we have to start doing now. Many players want to see people that look like them, helping them rehab, right? And so if that is something you're interested, we do have internships in that area too as well. right? So as you continue your education, right, and your desire and aspirations for that, follow us, right? Take a look at that and consider us.
We will be starting a physical therapist program here shortly at Oxnard College. So if you're still around, Andrew, look into that.
There you go. Yeah, but great question, Andrew. Thank you.
Anything else?
There's some question right in the back.
Can you repeat our email address, please?
My email? Sure. It's OGALINDO@rams.nfl.com. And we'll make sure to get it out to you guys in some other capacity.
And we have that too in the Career Center. And we'll go ahead and take more questions too, but we just wanted to pop in to really thank Oracio for being here today. It has been, he's such an amazing speaker, and the gift of his presence and his words, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. And a small little token of our appreciation, we got him some Oxnard College gear so he can rep that with the Rams.
Actually, I actually have something very special for all of you. And actually, I want to present something to Jonas. Yesterday, Jonas told me that his father was a big Rams fan, and he was very disappointed when the Rams moved back to St. Louis. Actually, if you look in the back, there's a bag.
I'm the gift giver.
Oh, sweet. Sweet. What do we got here? Ooh. Right? There you go.
So we got some Super Bowl championship hats.
Very nice.
But there's something special here for...
Oh, what do we got?
Oh.
Sweet.
Dad's gonna love that.
Can you tell him what it is?
That's a signed Eric Dickerson football. Eric Dickerson was one of his favorites. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's sweet.
Oh. Now, if I can have Amanda and Oscar come up. So I actually met Oscar at an event a couple of months ago, and we got to know each other. He said, "Hey, do you guys do anything with school?" I said, "Yeah. You know, just get me in contact with the person. I'll be happy to introduce you to people on my team." And got introduced to Amanda. And next thing you know, Amanda said, "I have this event, you know, and what do you think?" I'm like, "Go for it. I'm in." And so I wanted to recognize you guys with a little customized gift. So why don't you guys open this together? I can hold up the mic. I figured since today is first generation, you know, college day, they would be appropriate to put a 1, right, and sort of your personalized jersey. So I hope this can inspire you guys to pursue your dreams, your aspirations, and to know that you also could become a Super Bowl champion like myself. So congratulations. Thank you guys all for being here today.
Well, I just want to thank Oracio. It's just so amazing to work with. You've given our students and employees just amazing advice. Thank you so much for your support of first-generation students. Thank you for your support of Oxnard College. And I know we'll continue the relationship with the Rams and with Oracio, so more to come. And do you want to talk about an upcoming event?
And with that, on the last page of your program, there is a QR code. Oracio, not only has he come here and presented today, we're going to be taking a field trip to the corporate office. And so if you are interested, there's a QR code there you can scan, and we'll be in contact with you. So definitely take advantage of that. And while I have you guys here in this room too, I really encourage you to utilize your Career Center here. We have some really great services. We have LinkedIn, we have our online job board, we have paid internships coming. So really make sure that you're connecting with us so that we can help you along that process. You guys are not alone in your career pathway.
How many of you are ready to fix your resume? Raise your hand. We're going to see you at the Career Center. You all know where to find us, right? Administration building right across from the UTC, University Transfer Center.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
So up next, wait, there's more, folks. As you can see, we're really, really excited about having the trophy here. We're really excited about our guests coming and sharing the best tips and tricks for getting a solid career that can transform your life and your whole family. But we're gonna have a photo booth. So you all are gonna have an opportunity to take a picture with the trophy. Isn't that awesome? So if anybody does not, I know you have class and school comes first, so if you do not want to stick around for the pictures, it is okay. We will be a little heartbroken, but we will live.
But you can come back.
You can come back. So you can either go and, I'm not sure if the food truck is ready, but Carl's Jr. food truck will be here. You should have all gotten your meal tickets, right? Everybody has a meal ticket?
If not, come see us. We'll get it for you.
Yes.
The way that the photo is going to work is we're going to be dismissing by row. You're going to check in here, so we're going to line up this way, and then you're going to come up this way. You'll be able to take a photo, and then you'll exit out this side. This side is where Carl's Jr. will be, so it should be a really great flow. And feel free to stay in here, and while you're waiting for your photo opportunity, and we'll go from there.
Hopefully we missed the rain. Yeah. But wait, there's more. Horacio also brought a lot of gifts, so check under your seat.
That's right.
Because there might be a Post-it, either a blue Post-it or a yellow Post-it. And check the floor too, because I kept falling off.
And should you be the recipient
yay, we have one.
Post-it,
all
you
right,
can come
2,
to us, and
3.
we will make sure that you get something.
So we have, I believe, swag. Wait, so let's just hang tight. If the Post-it's not there, it's not there. It's not going to show up. So just hang tight because we will be dismissing you by rows. I think there was a question from the audience.
He's going to
for the swag, you can find us up in this corner. If you're going to be taking a picture, you can catch us here. If you're going to leave right away, we'll be here now, so you can come and we'll distribute it that way. So remember, if you guys can just stay seated so we can do it accordingly, and make sure that you stick around for your photo op and your meal.
Any questions for us? I know we shared a lot of information. So food, the way to our hearts. Pictures, always a fun time. And if you're a lucky winner, you were sitting somewhere that has a Post-it, come and give it to us and we'll trade it for a gift. All right? And don't forget, if you want to go to their headquarters and check out, we're going to have a tour. We're going to do a field trip. We don't have a date yet because we want to know who's interested. So we'll follow up with you if you use the QR code. All
and
right.
Just thank you so much for coming out today. We appreciate it, and we hope that you guys loved it as much as we did.
Yay! All right. So we'll have an opportunity for pictures in just a sec. We'll have our photo booth set up. All right, Jeremy, kick it up with the music, and we'll be right back. Hang tight. Ruben Alcala is helping us dismiss students. All right, Ruben Alcala will be here any minute. All right, folks. So what about 2 takeaways? 2 things that I learned as a student, whether I'm at